Hello everyone, this is Said Preet Kamal and I'm a lecturer at Manhattan Polytechnic College, Jalandhar. Today I'm here to share with you the subject details of programmable logic controller. But before starting that, I would like to share an important information. As usual, a quick information about the mission Fateh, and that says that we should wash our hands regularly, we should use sanitizer, mask, and maintain the social distancing rules so that we could come out of this pandemic situation of COVID-19 as early as possible. So that is why we need to win this situation, and for that we have to follow the rules of the mission Fateh, the campaign run by Captain Amrinder Singh, our Chief Minister of Punjab. So let us move on to the PLC. As in the last lecture we have discussed about the PLC architecture, so in that now we will discuss about the module addressing. These are some important points that we need to cover up so as to understand the PLC more clearly and more appropriately, so that we could come to know that how a PLC works and how the internal system works whenever we program it, whenever we provide inputs to it, or whenever we get the output. How internally the PLC works, this is all about that. The addressing is the most important thing that is to be done while using this PLC. So first of all, when we talk about the addressing, then this is the address format that is being given by Alan Bradley, who has maintained and manufactured this PLC and its software also, right? So when Alan Bradley, what he says is it that we are having this kind of a structure of an address format whenever we need to find out that in the PLC, in the chassis of the PLC, as we have discussed in the last lecture, how much or what kind of the file types or numbers are being utilized in that, in the racks, in the chassis basically, that we will talk about. And so here the first thing, that is the AB, the address format says that AB colon CD slash XX. This is the address format where A means the file type, that what kind of a file you are finding or you want to have or you want to work upon. That is it an input file or it is an output file? Then B says the file number. Here it will be the file number, that means which file from the input module or from the output module. As discussed in the last lecture, I have told you about the racks and chassis, that we are having the chassis that is bigger in size, but in between we are having racks, and in those racks we are having different input output modules, CPU, memory, and all those blocks inside, like the racks, right, inside the chassis. For example, we are having a cupboard, a big cupboard, and inside the cupboards we are having different counters, right? And in which counter whatever the thing is present, for that, for knowing that, so that we should not have to open all the counter and need to check that whatever is inside. So we are making this address format and telling that what kind of a file type it is that we are finding out or that we want to work upon. Then B is the file number, that what is the number of that input file or output file that you are finding out basically. Colon is basically the file delimiter, that will limit you, that will tell you about that inside the file number what kind of a rack you are to check. Then C means the rack number, it shows the rack number, that in which counter, in the counters also, in the racks also, or in the files also, they are having counters in between, and in which counter number we have to move on so as to collect or submit the data in between, right? So this C tells you the rack number, and then after, in each and every rack there are a group of data, so the group number, it will be most probably from 0 to 7. Means if I will imagine a wardrobe, in a wardrobe I am having different counters, right? I have to open. If this will tell me what kind of a file type it is, that means with what kind of a counter I have to open. That means I know that first four are the input counters and last four are the output counters. I'm just giving an example. It could be clear that what kind of address format it is, and you could relate it with the practical example, right? So in the counters I know that first four are the input counters and last four are the output counters. So I will locate according to this file type that I have to open the input counters or the output counters. Okay, then after the file number, then I am having four input counters and four output counters. Then what kind of a counter I have to open? If for example I need to open the input counter, that which number of input counter I have to open, 1 2 3 or 4. Then there is a file number, then that will tell us that which count of which part of the counter I have to open up, right? Then after there's a delimiter, so that it could connect it with this next one. Then the rack numbers. For example I have opened up counter number 2, and that is from the upper side, from the input side, the counter number 2 I have opened, right? So in the counter number 2 I am having a lot of racks in that particular counter, and in those racks it will tell which rack number I have to open up, right? Then for example it is having 8 racks in it, example, right? Then I have to open up, say, rack number 4 I have to open up, right? Then if I have opened up the rack number 4, then in the rack number 4 even there are group of datas, right? And that group of data contains 8 numbers in it or 8 datas in it, like that, right? Then which particular group number I have to open, that group, say for example I have taken the group number 5, right? So when I will open the group number 5, or I will have a look on the group number 5, then this slash tells you the bit delimiter. That means it will tell you about the number of the bit, the particular bit that I have to take, or that I have to input, on which I have to send the input. Then this XX is the terminal number, that in that particular group which terminal number is to be contacted, right? So I hope this all is clear to you about the module addressing or the address format that Ellen Bradley has told us. So let's now move upon the next block, or we can say the next topic, that is our PLC registers. When we talk about the PLC registers, that means here in the PLC we are having two types of registers. First one is the internal registers and second one are the external registers. In the internal register, as we all know, the register, the basic function of the register is to store some kind of a data if it is available, or we need to use them for the processing of the signals, right? So the PLC registers, the internal registers, are not meant for the users at all. They do the internal work, the system work. They take care about the system configurations, and along with that, the registers, the internal registers, are the registers of the microprocessor or the microcontroller itself, and they depends upon their use only and helps the processor to carry out the operations, and we do not have to take care of it anymore, right? Then when we talk about the external registers, then external registers are normally 16-bit wide registers. They are your 16-bit wide registers, and these are usually designated by prefixes, that we have given them some name, or we have given them some prefixes which are followed by some numbers, and if we need to find out that what a register name is, or if we have to find out that particular register, some particular register, then we have to follow those prefixes to find out what register we want to contact or what register we want to use in our particular operation. Then the prefixes, basically what they indicate is they indicate the functions of the registers. That is, the register is working as a timer or a counter or a status register or integer register or whatever it is, right? So the functions and addresses of the external registers of the PLC, they can be obtained from the user manual of the PLC, that we could know their functions from the manual, user manual, right? Then after, let's move on to the PLC operation, which is a very important concept that we need to follow. In the PLC operation, we need to check that what and how the PLC operates. Whenever we provide any input to the PLC, or whenever we need to check that what output it is providing, then how your PLC operates, how it works. It is basically about the PLC operation, and in that also we will use the input module, the output module, the storage memories, and that particular thing which tells us about what input is and what output is and how the programming is working. That is basically called as a scan cycle, or the time it takes to complete that scan is called as a scan time, or we can say it as a response time. So in the PLC operation, we are having three types of scans. These three types of scans, first one is your input scan, second one is your program scan, and the third one is your output scan. So three types of scan, they occur whenever we the PLC operates, right? Then first of all, when we talk about the input scan, right, when we talk about the input scan, here I can see here I have made it in a single block, but when you have to draw this scan cycles, then you have to draw it separately. That you have to draw, I had a limited space, so that is why I have covered it like this. But if when you will draw it, you will draw it separately. You will draw this input scan separately, then you will draw this program scan separately, and then you will draw this output scan separately. Okay, you don't have to connect it together. I have connected it because of the lower space. Then when we talk about the input scan process, then what is having here is, we are having input modules and storage memory. Okay, in the input modules, we are having input terminals. Input terminals, we are connected here the input devices. Now in the input module, whenever we connect the input devices to the input terminals, then they perform the operation, and the result of the input cycle, of the input scan, basically is stored in the input image status table. As I have told you earlier when we were talking about the PLC architecture memory part, in that memory part we were having 10 status tables, right? So in one of those status tables, it was the input image status table, and this input image status table basically stores the information of the input, that is how the input is being converted, or how it is being changed, what are the changes in between the input occurs when we provide input devices, and whenever the input devices send some signals to the input terminals, then whatever the changes happen inside the input terminals, they are basically shown to us, they are basically known to us with the help of this input image status table, and all this happens during the input scan time, right? Then when we move out to the program scan, then what happens after the input has been taken, then after that, from this input image status table, that status has been uploaded, has been sent to the user program. That means whatever the program we have made, the user have made, whatever the programming he has done, according to that user program, the input status table, it will take the input status table, the inputs from the input status table, and then after, during the program scan, it will do the scanning of the program, that whatever the calculations, whatever the processings are to be done in this user program at this particular time, whatever the operations are being done, and according to that operation, whatever the changes are to be there in the output image status table. So according to the program, according to the calculations, according to the processing during the program that we have done, according to that, the output image status table of the storage memory gets updated, right? So that means whatever the changes are to happen to the output terminals, that will first be provided to the output image status table, and that will update the table depending upon the program, and the input that we have provided. Then when we talk about the output scan time, then this all finishes out, this all is not inside. Then in the output scan time, what happens is whatever the changes have been made to the input status table, that will be provided to the output terminals, and through these output terminals that will be given to the output devices, and those output devices will work according to those output terminals or those output status table that has been updated, right? According to that, these output devices will work, and they will provide us the desired output that we have made in the program. So this is an important operation of the PLC that we have to remember, that we are having input scan, program scan and output scan. But one thing that we have to note that is very important here is, whenever the output scan is running, at that time, if there is any change in the input terminals or the input signals or the input image status table, that will not affect the output. Means whenever any scan is in process, at that time, if any change is happened in different of the scan cycles, then that will not affect its working. They are independent and they will work individually. No one will interfere with the working of each other. No one will interfere. No, not a program scan can interfere with the input scan, not the input scan could interfere with the output scan. If whenever this output scan of one input has been completed, after that the input scan will start again, and then it will process again in the same manner. They are basically, in the program scan, they are basically called as rugs. Rugs means the lines. That means whenever we write any program, we write it in lines, right? First line, second, third, fourth, fifth. So whenever the program scan cycle works, what it does is it works it in a sequential manner. These are the rugs. Whenever the scan happens, the scan starts from the left side and moves to the right side, and whenever it reaches the end, then after what it does is it turns out to the next rug, and then start from the left, reaches the right, then starts from the left in the next rug, and then reaches the right, then again and then again, and so on. This in a sequential manner, this input program and output scan happens. This input program and output scan happens in this particular sequence only. So this is all about the PLC operation, the PLC registers that I have discussed with you, that is the internal and the external registers, and then the address format. So I hope you all are clear with this. If still you will having any queries, then we will be taking it in the live session. Thank you so much.